Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Football Inc. Hope you're all happy and healthy, doing the things that you love for those you love to do them with. Please, guys, do smash the like button if you're watching this. And if you haven't already, then hit the subscribe button to come straight in to the chat. Let us know your thoughts on today's topics. Of course, the biggest story out in football right now is all about Tottenham Hotspur and Daniel Levy's 25-year reign as executive chairman has come to an end. We're going to be talking about that a lot, I guess, this morning or this afternoon even. But we are also going to be going through the Premier League results. We don't know it's only 5 days away, but we've got to catch up on the scores on the draws there. And please, guys, just also, if you are interested in the audio version or the podcast format generally, then you can watch this show on Spotify and you can hear it back also on Apple Pods. And last but by no means least, absolutely by no means least, can you please, if you are interested in getting the best value shirts in town for all of your footballing wishes, Christmas is just around the corner. Apparently there was a problem with the last QR code. We've updated the QR code, so it should now be absolutely working. okjersey.com is sponsoring the show today, and you can get a £15 give or take shirt from okjersey.com, and for an 8% discount at checkout, use code FINC. Think, as in, I think, Johnny, it's time to talk a little bit about Daniel Levy, mate. He has left the building. Levy out is no longer. Will it be moving to Charrington out? What are these people going to do now? They've got their man out the door, and now it's the start of a new dawn and a new era, mate. What's your thoughts on the overall thing? And by the way, how are you as well? Also.
I'm okay. I'm all good. And hi to everyone in the chat. Yeah, I'm still selling flip-flops, says Beyond, asking if I sell flip-flops. I never flip-flop, mate. I stay true to my word. I didn't go to the last two demonstrations because I didn't think that they were appropriate. But that is what it is. As far as Daniel Levy's concerned, look, it's not a surprise to me that it happened. He leaves the club in a very healthy position. I think our last turnover was 548 million, a 42% spend per income on wages. That's dropped. Our income is about to go much higher than that now because we got 32 events. We're now in the Champions League. Our income is just about to go through the roof. Now, what will the change look like? How long will the fan base give the new hierarchy? Because to many, Sean, people see it as exactly the same people as before. Just a wolf in sheep's clothing. Same old, just a different face. I don't subscribe to that. I still believe that there's money coming in, whether or not now they're going to put money in themselves or money's incoming for sponsorship of the stadium. But I believe that things are going to change. And I honestly do believe, judging by the quality of the signings that we made, that is the first sign of intent. And I think what happens now, the relationship between the fans and whether or not we go again in January will determine where we are. But I think we got to look at this positively. We're back in the Champions League. We've got a top manager. And I believe Vinay is a quality acquisition. And as I said at the time, this is a guy that could have gone anywhere. Could have gone to Saudi. Could have gone to America with private equity. But he chose to come here. Now, there's no way he's come here without understanding what he's getting into, without knowing, there's going to be money. Look, how long ago was it? 3 weeks ago? Daniel Levy said on Overlap, Sean, didn't he? He said, they'll not appreciate me till I'm gone. 3 weeks later, he's gone. Now, do you think he knew, and that's why he said that only 3 weeks ago to Gary Neville, that deep down he knew exactly what was going on? What are your thoughts?
To be honest, mate, I'm looking at the chronological timeline of events, and this goes way back. By the way, this goes like 2 years back. We were hearing about they need an investment, they need to expand the equity base, and then There was the cash injection just before that could have been 150 million, was only 100 million. Then there was, in December last year, there was the share issues. Then in January, there was the Stavely non-disclosure agreement. Then in March, Charrington came in. Then in April or May, Vinay comes in. Then you have the trophy being lifted, which obviously you had the protests at the same time. Everything's pointing towards something. We were talking about this for months and months and months, saying that there was things changing in the upstairs room. Matt Law coming out with his load of waffles saying that Tottenham are broke. All these different things were happening. But then recently, you have all this stuff, this like communication. Vinay and Daniel Levy talking about how Vinay's now the new CEO, but Daniel Levy, they're going to be, lockstep, basically. Like whilst Vinay's taking over the footballing side, there's not going to be any major decisions that are taken unless the two of them see entirely eye to eye. Then, as you say, you have the interview with Gary Neville where he's saying they'll appreciate me after I'm gone, but he's still very much involved in all of the transfers. That doesn't in any way sync up with what happened with the Vinay interview a couple of weeks before, a couple of months or a month earlier. Yeah. There's like nothing about this story in any way, shape or form looks consistent. Everything looks like there's one message, then you jump over here to read into another message, then you jump back. And we are, as fans, left scratching our heads, not knowing, who is it that's in charge? Who was it that was in charge through the summer? Was the truth being dropped in the Vinay and Levy interview? Was the truth being dropped in the Gary Neville interview? Is the truth that we're seeing now, the real truth? Like, who is it that's going to be taking over in charge in the future? Who's going to be leading any particular negotiations? Who was it that was in charge during those sort of 3-4 weeks regarding the Morgan Gibbs White thing? Loads of stories regarding that Daniel Levy was very much involved in those and pissed off Parish, and all this stuff's going on, Johnny, and none of it, not a single word of it, of these different items, line up with each other. And so you're kind of left going, I don't really know. I genuinely have no clue who was it that's been sort of leading the who's been taking hold of the reins for the last few months. Obviously now we know he's gone, and there's also, by the way, been a new bank a loan arrangement, some sort of loan arrangement that's been set up. The amount of money of which we're not sure, but it's apparently set against future Premier League revenues. So was that the money that was used for any of the particular deals that we got done? Is the fact that we got like Mawani on loan and Polina on loan and all these things, does that come into play here? Are they because they're short-term movements for a new wave of money that's coming in and new owners potentially coming in, or new part owners, new investment? Is it going to be a sponsorship? I'll be entirely honest, Johnny. I spent the last 24 hours or the last 20 hours thinking about this and nothing else. And I can't figure out for the life of me what the hell is going on. I genuinely don't know whether or not we have, whether the Lewis family are going to be coming in and putting money in, and the kids or the grandkids or whatever, that they want to be more ambitious. These news that was out saying that they want to do more for the fans, be in line with more with the fans, and that Daniel Levy was thrown under the bus a little bit. Be entirely honest, mate, that doesn't ring true. That doesn't make any sense to me, because sorry, emergency network test. That doesn't make any sense to me, because like, if the Lewises wanted to have been more ambitious, they could have put money in before now, but they didn't. Right. So to me, I just feel like there's a hell of a lot of different stories, a hell of a lot of different noise. And I'll be honest, mate, I'm left none the wiser as to who it is that's really calling the shots at Tottenham and what that looks like going forward.
You cannot forget what is fact that he appointed Rothschilds 2 years ago to attract inward investment. Now, we've had suitors come into the club. We had Todd Bowley come into the club, right? He didn't want to step down. Todd Bowley wanted to be CEO. He didn't want to relinquish his position as CEO. The inward investment hasn't come. My take on it is that Daniel has blocked it at a lot of the people that have come in. It's fallen at his hurdle. Yep. And I believe that that the Lewis family, Joe Lewis, was questioning what was going on, sent in his man, Peter Charrington. Now, listen, Peter Charrington, right? He's not some like lightweight. This guy's a heavyweight. You don't become the head of Citibank and on the board of various private equity companies and also
it's not Citibank. It's not Citibank. It's City Private Bank. Slightly different.
Yeah,
but,
I know, City Private Bank, right? But still, right? Okay, he's
he
who's who.
He knows what he's doing. Yeah, he knows his onions.
Yeah, but have a look at also all the different companies he's a director of. He's on the board of. This guy is a very well-respected person with many connections from around the world, especially with the type of clients that City Private Bank hold. Believe me, Joe Lewis isn't his only client. He runs in those circles. So I believe that he's the guy that can bring in the inward investment without the hurdles. And Vinay also has a big private equity lure. You know, he has all those connections. And I think between the two of them, they will be able to facilitate loans to a better situation, you know, better position to attract favorable loans or to attract inward investment. Like I mentioned before, you can sell a 20-year stake for a naming rights without giving away 1% of your business. There are things that you can do. And Vinay, forget about the Arsenal fans and their take on it. The bitter and twistedness only came about when he turned up at Spurs. But he was instrumental in the building up of the women's football team and its rise to prominence. They are like one of the top 5 in Europe, and the huge Adidas deal that they did. He's behind a lot of that, a lot of commercial stuff, and he's a football person. But what I'd like to see, Sean, I think there needs to be a statement from whoever's in charge now of the direction. Not we hear from the Levy family, a spokesman on behalf of the Levy. That's hearsay. We need a proper statement as to the direction. And I think, guys, we got to give them time. You know, I hear all the people saying it's still ENIC. We still protest. If they don't do it, it will just be ENIC out. We'll leave Levy out. Well, I don't think that's acceptable at this stage. We have to give them time. We have to see, do they look any different to how they looked before? What we do know is, Sean, as we said before, the amount of money that's going to be coming into the club now, and you talked about before a new bank facility against future earnings, those future earnings could easily surpass 600 million. Easily.
They will. I think they will. They will for last season, 100%. Yeah. Quickly, mate, Daniel Levy was not aware he would be stepping down until just a few hours before the club's official announcement. See, that to me, mate, and this is according to Time and Sport, right? That to me is like I wouldn't be surprised. Like the way that these things, when you're trying to find the kind of consistent themes in any of these, like these individual moments that have happened over the last couple of months with regards those stories, like the Vinay interview and stuff, you can kind of envision Daniel Levy maybe being blackballed a little bit from behind the scenes here. Maybe the story is that the Lewises did put in their plant in Charrington, and that Charrington came in and said, "Listen, I'm just here as a fly on the wall. I'm just here to chaperone, making sure everything's okay. Relax. You just carry on doing your thing. I'm just making sure that there's, you know, any future transfer," because maybe they got wind of the idea, as you said, and I completely agree and echo your thoughts, that every time there was apparently some sort of deal regarding investment, it suddenly fell over at the last hurdle, allegedly. And sometimes those news reports were suggesting it was because Daniel Levy put these conditions like, oh, you know, I need to stay. I want to stay on for 5 years. I want my £3 million a year, all that stuff. Of which, of course, he's taken £60 million in salary or compensation out of the club in the last 25 years. As far as I can tell, the Lewises haven't taken a single penny. Right? They haven't taken a penny out of it. Obviously, their kind of golden egg is going to be on the sale, but then Levy gets that as well. Levy gets his slice of that as well. So maybe they're sitting there pissed off with him that he's blackballing any potential exit for them or any potential ability for them to receive some money, predicated on the idea that he still gets his. He's now been, if it's true, that a few hours before the announcement, it kind of makes sense, right? You bring Vinay in, and then Daniel Levy's like, okay, we're going to do this interview, but we're going to make sure that it's clear that I'm still that we're still in charge, that we still know which side the bread is buttered on. And Vinay's like, yeah, that's fine. But it kind of, you could make the conspiracy argument that it's all one big kind of collusion, and Daniel Levy's been on the outside of that inner circle for the last few months. And then just a couple of hours before the announcement, he gets a tap on the shoulder. By the way, bro, you're stepping down, and with it, you sacrifice your compensation. He won't be getting paid his £3 million a year anymore, Johnny.
No, listen, and I honestly never believed that Vinay was appointed by Daniel Levy. I never did. I never did, because this is a guy that's not played number 2. He's risen through the ranks to become number 1. So why would he come to Spurs as a number 2, number 3? Didn't make any sense to me. Not when you consider the jobs that he was offered, Sean. He was offered jobs in top private equity companies in Saudi Arabia, in America, and he was offered the top position at Newcastle. And I said at the time, why would you forsake all of that just to come as an also-ran or as a whatever at Spurs? I just never believed it. But I still think that I'd like to hear something from them. Look, there's lots of changes going on at the club. And, I think the changes for the better. There's changing medical staff, everybody, the Thomas Frank's staff that he's brought in, the new medical and training centre extension at Hotspur Way, what's going on at Whitewebs, the new hotel, suddenly getting quality players or aiming for quality players. I think the times are changing. And Sean, may I ask, do you think that maybe now Daniel is gone, other clubs might be willing to do deals with us and talk to us in a more favourable light now that he's left the building, and that reputation will be swept aside, and now Vinny, my cousin Vinny, will be in here in his new starring role?
Yeah, look, I think it's definitely exciting times. It's definitely change. You know how I feel about Daniel Levy. I've always said I'm more than happy for him to move aside. I think he's taken the club to a very nice position, a very opportunistic stance, and then now can be a springboard to move on to better opportunities with someone else in charge. Doesn't mean that I disregard anything that he's done over the last 25 years. I definitely think he's been a very good chairman for Tottenham overall. Lots of mistakes, but lots of good decisions as well. And he is responsible for what we have, this sleeping giant. However, I do think that he's being thrown under the bus a little bit by some of the noise, the news here. That said, because I said, if the Lewises are saying, the children are generations of Tottenham fans and they want more of what the fans want, like more successes, all this stuff. Well, you could have put more money in than you have. You could have done more. Because Harry Redknapp said on TalkSport that it was that Daniel Levy never got involved in the day-to-day stuff with him specifically when he was manager, and it was Joe Lewis that was calling the shots back then. So, let's not pretend, let's not whitewash the relationship with the Lewises have had with the club over the years. If there is a lack of ambition, you have to go to the people at the top who have got the funds and the resources to put that money in, and they didn't. To sit there now and say that, to make this notion that now that Levy's out of the way, the Lewises can really do what they wanted to do. That's a load of bollocks. The Lewises could have done a hell of a lot more than they have done over the last 25 years and decided not to. So for Daniel Levy to be the fall guy, look, maybe there's a part of the kind of resentment towards him because, and I completely echo your thoughts, that maybe when it came to getting deals done, he was blackballing and he was cop blocking a little bit to make sure that he got his while the Lewises haven't had theirs. Totally fine and totally good, fair point. I agree with you about Vinay being able to now repair some broken relationships, build some bridges with football clubs, and that can only be a good thing as well. But I'd still sit there and make the argument, Johnny, that there's still a lot of opaque information with regards who it is that's going to be pulling the triggers, who it is that's going to be negotiating deals. How does that operate? How does that whole thing look? Because the football club for the last 25 years has had the guy who's the bean counter also be the guy who has been negotiating. And I was talking to Connor about this earlier, and like Vinay and the way that Arsenal probably do it and other clubs do it, their CEOs, their directors of football have slightly more probably responsibility. And Daniel Levy, one of his limitations is the inability to trust people and to get out of the way and let football people do the football stuff. Now we're going to have to see what that looks like. But there'll be teething problems in that regard as well. If Paratici's coming back in charge, last thing I say, John, before I hand back over, if Paratici's coming back in to be the DOF alongside Vinny, I'm not saying that Vinny isn't a smart businessman, a financial guy. Of course he is. This way, he earned his own stripes. But who is it that's going to be doing the negotiating? Who is it that's going to be looking at the accounts? Who is it that's going to be figuring out what is the budget? How does that shape up? Future responsibilities, previous commitments, all of those things. If Daniel Levy's out of the way, there's a hell of a lot of space that guy occupied that needs to now be filled with other people's intentions. And that's going to come with its own teething problems.
Well, I just think when you're a megalomaniac, which I think Levy was, he tried to control everything. And, if you're running a business and you hire a guy who specializes in X and you hire him in, but you're stood over him watching every aspect of his work and trying to correct it and say, oh, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. There's no point in hiring him. Hire the best people and let the best people do their job. I do think, though, from what I was told, Daniel Levy went to Joe Lewis asking for money, and Joe Lewis said, no, there is no more money unless you want to dilute yourself, which Daniel wasn't keen on doing. Then he went out to try and find money in the city. Money became very expensive, new money. The old money's all taken care of. It's all been restructured. Brilliant deal by Daniel Levy. One of the best deals he ever did for this club was the restructuring of that 25-year debt with the Bank of America. But there was obviously a need for cash and with these capital-intensive projects. So I don't believe, personally, that Joe Lewis doesn't know that they went to Rothschilds. No one said that they've been removed from Rothschilds. So I still believe deep down, despite what we're being told, that they might be looking to sell Daniel's 29% to get an inward investment, even if it's 10% inward investment into the club. I think that's what will happen. Do
you think Levy's completely removed from the football club now?
No, I actually said to you right at the beginning that I think Daniel wouldn't leave completely. I think he'll maybe get involved in the property side of the business. Don't forget, there's the development of White Webs. There's the hotel development. There's the development that's just been resubmitted for the housing project across the road. These are all big developments, and probably where Daniel's forte lies in that, more so than football. Maybe his 29% will allow him to concentrate on that. But, for me, I think what we've got is heavyweights, Sean. I believe Vinay and Peter Charrington are heavyweights with credibility that if you are bringing in, whether it's Saudi money, Qatari money or American money, that when you see the credentials of these guys, you're willing to let them, entrust in them to run your football club if you're investing. Whereas before, with Daniel having control of everything, Donna Cullen, Caldecott, I don't know whether they didn't have that same credibility. No disrespect to them, but they didn't have that same financial credibility. But I think the board has to step up now and tell us where we're going. But
do you know what, mate? The more I think about it now, with that announcement from the Times Sport, he's been told a few hours before the announcement, by the way, you're done. Like, that now makes the most, like, the idea that he has been entirely, like, blackballed. He's been essentially like, the king is dead, long live the king kind of thing. And it looks like he's been thrown under the bus, and it looks like he's been cut out. And as I say, to me, then there's a power vacuum. Because if you've got a guy that's been doing basically everything for the last 25 years, like you say correctly, other people are going to have to step up. But they're big shoes to fill. Maybe it will be a blessing. Maybe it will be an absolute blessing. But I guarantee you there'll be some teething problems along the way. And the other thing I was just going to ask you is, if you subscribe to that same train of thought as what I'm now starting to think, that he has literally been shoehorned out, then if you're feeling like you've been betrayed, if you're Daniel Levy right now, and the things that he said in the Vinny interview, the things that he said in the Gary Neville interview, if all of that was sincere, yes, I'm still very much involved, blah, 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 blah. And then a couple of weeks later, sorry, you're no longer involved anymore. You're no longer executive chairman. You've lost your vote on the board. You lost your salary, but probably. He'll probably get, like, I'm sitting there thinking, if I'm him, how easy is it going to be able to work in the property side of the business and see the thing that your Tottenham Hotspur baby, and I genuinely do think that he loves Tottenham Hotspur. I genuinely do think that he does, in his mind, what is best for the football club. It's going to be very difficult for him to sit back and let someone else take the reign, right? Like, there's egos, especially at that level. So I wouldn't be surprised if he asked for a complete exit. And in which case, that makes all new investment, all that stuff, it makes that incredibly, incredibly complex. And it kicks the can down the road on the priorities of the football club, because those things need to be fixed and figured out first, so that there's a clear, easy to understand path of who's in control, who are the owners, and who's getting what money from whom, when. All of that stuff needs to be sort of figured out. And in the meantime, you've got Thomas Frank and his coaching staff that are trying to keep everything rock steady on the pitch whilst all that shit's going on in the boardroom. It's probably a very messy and noisy environment to be trying to do your job right now, mate.
Listen, look, Joe Lewis is, 85, 88 on his boat, probably with a couple of hula girls, right, pouring him the drinks. I don't think he's got any interest right now in the day-to-day, running of his club. Vivian, I believe, never got on with Daniel. That's all of the reports I always used to hear. I believe I heard that she was a Liverpool supporter. Whether that's true or not is up for debate.
Oh,
look, for me, Sean,
is Vivian the granddaughter or the daughter?
The daughter.
Is there granddaughters as well? Are they kind of like adult granddaughters?
I'm sure there must be. Look, Daniel's son was the head of Tavistock Group. The Tavistock Group, over 200 companies, of which Enoch is just one. Is his job now in jeopardy?
I don't think he's the CEO of Tavistock anymore. I think he's the CEO of a financial arm within one of those companies.
Yeah.
So I don't think I might be wrong, but I looked him up about a couple of months ago.
It moved around. Joe's had, obviously when you've got that much money, you have more than one marriage. Vivian is wife number one. I can't remember the son's name. But look, their dad's getting on. It's all in a trust. We know that, when Joe was over the charges of insider trading, and he was up for the charges in the court in New York, that he put away the shares in a Bahamas trust, and I believe that they still remain in that trust. So
irrevocable trust, I think. So
yes. So I still believe that if they want the club to do what they want it to do, that's the hotel. There's an obligation, don't forget, to have that hotel finished by 2028.
Yeah, have you seen that improve at all? I was asking Con about this earlier.
Well, the foundations and all of that bit takes a long time.
The foundations were done, weren't they? But at the end of last season in May at the Brighton game, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's a bit more that's been done.
Over the last 3 or 4 months, you would have seen some more work improvements on it.
Yeah, but look, at the end of the day, that needs to be fulfilled, right? That obligation. Whether or not it comes, when I first started speaking to Spurs, when I was dealing with them going back while the stadium was being built, they were looking for partners for the hotel. Whether they're going to take that hotel on its own, I'm not sure. But that hotel will be a cash cow, Sean. When you think of all the events, people coming in from overseas, conferences and the like. So it's going to be high occupancy in that hotel. But I think they need the money to come in. Why would they suddenly finance it when they didn't finance it for Daniel? I don't know. Will they just dilute Daniel anyway? Put the money in and dilute his shareholding from where it currently is? I don't know. They dilute
him, they dilute everybody, don't they?
Yeah, but they've got a large proportion of it. He's a minority. That's the other thing, guys. People have often asked, if the Lewises were unhappy with Daniel, and there were rumours that he were, as the majority shareholder, they could remove him and oust him. And that's exactly what they've obviously done. Yeah. Is it any surprise if you're in a boardroom and they're not happy with your performance, it just seems kind of ironic that finally the finances are in place, they're getting better, you win a trophy, and then he's out.
Well, that's why I kind of think maybe he's not like, I'm sure he's probably feeling a little bit bitter about it, bittersweet. But I think that the fact that he won the trophy in the end, not to say he won the trophy, in fact that we won the trophy under his reign, was the final piece of that jigsaw, and at least he has that kind of trophy to see off the. And it's a monster trophy, right? It's one of the biggest trophies you can win. So, it's probably like the perfect time to now kick into something else. But I definitely think, don't forget, mate, that if he, we don't know what there could have been really toxic discussions in the boardroom. Like, what do you mean you're going to kick me out? But maybe the fact that they removed Donna Cullen, they expedited. I know she was going to retire anyway, but the expediting of her removal and replaced with Vinay. Obviously, Charrington's a non-exec chairman. That might become an exec chairman very soon, by the way. All right, so you've got to put the logical thought processes. The difference between an exec and a non-exec is a vote on the board. So Daniel Levy, he might have stepped down, but it might have been put to a vote, right, to remove him, and like an unofficial vote to make sure that everyone feels the way that he's lost his right-hand woman in Donna Marie Cullen, who always was in lockstep with him. She stepped down, or she was forced out, whatever. You could almost sort of see this like boardroom politics here of stepping stones, logical incrementalism towards an outcome. And Daniel Levy was blindsided by all of these little appointments onto the board. And then they've got together. And then eventually, when they've got the votes, vote him off unofficially. So he steps down to save his own face. And then right now, the best way for that to have been kept under the sort of cloak of darkness was for Charrington to come in initially as a non-exec chairman, so that he didn't come, or a non-exec director, sorry, so that he didn't look like he was a threat to Daniel Levy. And now he's become non-exec chairman. Wouldn't be surprised if he was made executive chairman in the coming weeks or months.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I think the fans need to hear something. I think there's a touch of Succession here. If you've seen
exactly what I was about to say. It's exactly what I was about to say. Succession, 100%.
It's Succession, right? And he, for all we know, he might have been marched out, right? We don't know. Yeah. I believe this is a good moment. Listen, I'm going to thank Daniel. I've been highly critical of many things he's done on the football pitch, but he has put the club in a perfect position, right, where we are now, that anyone coming in, we're a turnkey operation right now. Anyone who comes in now, we got the NFL in. We got 32 events to have in that stadium. We're in the Champions League. Our squad has improved. There's so many good elements coming. We got the hotel coming, more revenue from that. The white webs. There's so many positive things coming to fruition. He will probably feel very upset that he's not here to see it all through, but that's life. You've been here 25 years. It's time now for a new hierarchy, a new regime. I still do believe, Sean, though, that inward investment will be coming, because I don't believe that you would go to Rothschilds looking for inward investment and then say, well, it was all a ruse. We never wanted inward investment anyway. And, where's all the money suddenly going to come from? Is he going to suddenly put in £400-500 million? Maybe he is, but I wouldn't have thought so.
Yeah, 100%. Just super quick, George, he's a non-exec chairman now, but he came in as a non-exec director, and non-exec directors initially don't have voting rights. That's the difference between executive directors on the board and non-exec. They are not legally responsible for. They are just there as advisors, which is what he was initially brought in as. Now he is a non-exec chairman. The non-exec chairman can have them, but non-exec board directors don't. At least that's my understanding anyway. I'm pretty sure that's accurate.
We've got some super chat, Sean.
Yeah, we have. I also want to just, before we move on to other topics, mate, but I want to also talk about what this looks like for the future as well. And obviously the sponsorship deals. Do you think the Saudis coming in? We'll come to that in just a second. Super chats, big up to you, Dean Law. Really appreciate you, mate. Super Sticker Train has commenced. Choo-choo to you, buddy. Always here, Deanie. I'd love to know what you do for work, mate, because every time I go live, or every time I'm on I see anyone else live, There you are with a super sticker, mate. You're very, very generous, and you're very supportive of everybody, Dean. Appreciate you very much, mate. And talk about supportive people. Here's another one. Blaine Devlin, absolute legend as always, mate. You've given out more memberships than my local gymnasium on January the 1st, I think, mate. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane, bro. Thank you very much indeed. If you did receive one of those 10 Football Inc. memberships, then please do say thank you very much to Blaine. And Blaine, for me and Johnny, thank you very, very much indeed, mate. Very, very, very supportive guy. Lovely bloke as well. Daniel Hooson, big up to you, mate. Super sticker from you. Choo choo to you. Where's Daniel Hooson, Johnny?
Darkest Peru. Yes. He's coming back though. He's leaving Darkest Peru. It won't be the same as Darkest Dagenham. I can't remember where you're coming back to, Daniel. Please let us know. Please let us know
where you're going back to, mate. It's getting honestly that when as soon as you get past June the 21st and the darker evenings start to come in, they come in quick, don't they? It's September the 5th, and it is it's not dark now, but it won't be long before it's dark around 5 p.m. Appreciate you very much, Daniel. John Sheridan says, big up to you. Says, I think the parade after winning the cup done more than the protests. I think made them realise just how big this club is, how big it can be, and how much we may have been held back. It's an interesting take. Johnny, do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, thanks. First of all, John, thanks very much for your very generous donation there to the channel. I think you look at Sky News and Talk Sport, they all talk about the demonstration. They show the banner. Those who are involved in it will say that they are the ones and the reason why he's left. I don't believe that's the reason why he left, but it would have been a contributing factor when they're analysing and putting all the skittles in line as to why Daniel will go. The protest, and that would definitely be a factor of it. I think the cup winning the cup has been the catalyst. Without it, I don't know where we would be right now. But now we're in the Champions League. The money that's coming, the type of transfers that we've managed to pull off because of it. I think now the club may have been held back, and with Daniel gone now, some of the shenanigans. Like, I will say this, right, and I'm only going to say it once: the Eze deal, I believe, had Daniel not been involved in that deal would have been done, because the negotiations wouldn't have gone on for days and days and days over minuscule amounts of money. But that ship has sailed. I just think now I'm hoping we have a much better relationship with clubs. We've removed the so-called obstacle. Yeah. And the people who quote this every time we fail to pull off a transfer, they're going to have a new angle if we don't sign someone now, because you won't be able to blame Daniel anymore. Yeah,
look, I still think there's going to be, pecking order politics of transfers. If Tottenham it'd be interesting, mate. And we're going to come to that in a second. Let me just finish the super chat, super stickers. Big up to you, El Dante. Thank you so much, my man, moderator as well. Big up to you, buddy. Thanks for the support. And also to Dermatron. Big up to you, Dermo. Thank you very much for your support as well, buddy. I hope you're doing well. I hope life is treating you kind. Sounds like a song. I hope life treats you kind. Oscar as well. Big up to you, Oscar. Thank you so much, my man. Appreciate you. I will always love you is the song, wasn't it? Jesus Christ. Dermatron, I'll always love you, my man. Oscar, thank you so much, mate. Super sticker from you as well. Choo choo to you all. Choo choo to you all. Johnny, let's talk a little bit about.
Can I just add one thing? Sorry, can I just add one thing, right? Sorry. He's not my favourite person. Right. In fact, I've never liked the guy, but I'm going to say a letter from David Lammy. Right. OK. Here's a guy who could change the whole landscape of Tottenham by putting in the line from Seven Sisters to White Hart Lane. He's the guy that runs Haringey. He's meant to be the leader of Haringey. It's done bugger all, mate. I can't stand him. Daniel Levy's contribution to Tottenham Hotspur Football Club has been immense. There have been so many unforgettable moments and players over the last 25 years. The League Cup in 2008, Gareth Bale's heroics in our 3-1 win over Inter Milan, Harry Kane's 280 goals. We have, of course, been through thick and thin, but even throughout tumultuous times on the pitch, he delivered a world-class stadium for the fans. and the constituency, and transformed Tottenham into a global music destination, attracting artists from Beyonce to Kendrick Lamar. He established the Tottenham Hotspur Foundation, which has had a life-changing effect on people across our community. And now he departs with Spurs back in the Champions League with the Europa League trophy and on an exciting new manager at the helm. I want to thank him for all that he has achieved for this corner of North London, his services to THFC, and his constituency won't be forgotten. What I would say is that the community trust that he did set up has been fantastic for the community. The amount of jobs that have been created through the concerts, employing everybody, the university that's at One Hotspur House. There's been a lot of things which don't get much coverage. Myself and my wife donated to the Tottenham to that. I won't go into all of that, but they do a lot for the community there. And I don't think there's much coverage of what that has done to many people's lives and brought them out of the poverty and what have you, and given them hope and jobs and careers. So I just thought I'd throw that in. Because
I think it's good. Nice little take, mate. You know, like I say, I'm more than happy to see what's next. I'd like to know more what next looks like before I can get super excited, because I think it's very opaque. But I'm certainly not going to sit here and pretend like I don't think he was a great chairman, and I think he's been a fantastic what he's done to the local community, the opportunities that have been presented, raising the level of wealth for small businesses, bringing more and more people into the area. All of those things are going to get their side thoughts for people that care about, you know, whether we're winning on the Saturday or not. But those things are meaningful, and probably more meaningful to the lives of people around Tottenham than you know, whether or not Harry Kane scores a hat trick or whatever. Or used to. So he's done a great job in my opinion. And he set us up for whatever the next chapter is going to look like. I do want to ask you, Jonny, what that looks like in your mind, mate. Obviously, we don't know where we're going next, but there has been a hell of a lot of rumours all summer. And look, Matt Law was wrong about a lot of things this year with Tottenham with regards being broke, but he also did say when Ange was gone and when Donna Cullen stepped down, he said, you know, that there's more changes happening, more changes that are coming. Vinay, Charrington, etc. Then there was the rumours that Daniel Levy was going to step aside, and that ended up being the case. There was also then, from the same sorts of mouths that were saying that, the rumours that there's a 300 or 250 million pound sponsorship deal,
correct,
that yet to be announced, but is basically done, and that the rumours are that it was one of two big Saudi things. I think the company that did. They've got a football team. The company, Saudi Aramco. Saudi Aramco is the big oil company, and then a name of like I forget. I think I'll look it up in a second. Like a property company out there that tried to build that long glass wall, that solar powered wall city thing. I think that whole thing got shelved. I'm not sure, but anyway, those were the two suggested options, or something from private equity in America. Do you expect to hear before the end of the year something with regards a big investment from a third party, not just from the Lewises, but from someone else?
Yeah. I said to you, how do you attract money without giving away any cut of your business?
Yeah.
Without giving away a stake, do the naming rights. Therefore, they don't give away anything. Whether or not there's a 10% inward investment, they want a 10% stake and a rolling investment to take full control over 3 years. That's also possible, Sean, where they come in. But look, Daniel Levy has been the giant shark swimming in the seas, biting and chewing up managers, other owners, and causing havoc in the sea. And unfortunately, this time he's gone for a swim in the sea, and there was a bigger shark, and he's been gobbled up. And there will be probably celebrations in some boardrooms up and down the country that he's finally left the building. That might be not such a good thing for us, because I mean, look, at the end of the day, we might be able to do better deals, but maybe he was a good haggler, but he lost sight of the fact that this is buying a football club. This isn't doing a property deal. But listen, I see this, as I said before, I see this as a long-term deal. I see money coming in. I've stated it all the way back to March. I don't see any change. In fact, when that 300 million was announced, I said to you, I spoke about it. They've been bought in for inward investment. You don't put heavyweights on a board unless you are looking to trying to get change. And that's exactly what's happening. So that's where I
just be interesting though, with regards, I was saying this with Connor earlier, we were laughing about it. You know, if there was truth that there was going to be Saudi Ramco or one of these types like Neom or something like that, right, they're from Saudi, you could just imagine, can you? It would be so typically Spursy that the first time that Tottenham get a sniff of getting like a monster sort of Saudi level wealth whale coming in, and then it's blocked by the fit and the owners test because of their relationship with Newcastle, the PIF fund. And the same goes for Qatar as well, by the way. Like, obviously that there's obviously different ways that Saudi can still invest in Tottenham without being a part of the PIF fund, but it is quite complicated if the PIF fund is the overall government. And as far as I'm aware, I think that most businesses, certainly with Abu Dhabi, I'm not sure if it's the same as Saudi, but that every business in those countries essentially comes up through the government, right, through the families that own them. So it'd be interesting to see whether or not there's a way that they could like get around that sort of conflict of interest test. If they can, I'm all for it. You know, it'd be nice to be part of the part of the cartel, wouldn't it, Johnny? Rather than you and I sitting there, and I'll be happy to like eat my words on this one. But for the last year and a half, Johnny, you and I have sat there and been calling out the nonsense that has involved Chelsea and Newcastle and Cleargate Capital and the PIF and Aston Villa and City and all this stuff that goes on. It would be nice just for once to think that we're part of the fun side of that conversation rather than the resentment.
Saudi PIF Mark II.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
We're the ones doing deal with Newcastle, Saudi Arabia, and Chelsea. Suddenly, Chelsea. So here's the question: will Chelsea suddenly start having deals with us?
Maybe.
Will Newcastle be our feeder club? Kicks TV saying.
Maybe. I mean, it'd be great, wouldn't it? It'd be absolutely sensational to think that we can engage in those sorts of dialogues. Because how many times have we had these links? You know, Tottenham are interested in Conor Gallagher, and we just sit there and go, let's just forget about it. We don't deal with Chelsea. You know, Tottenham are interested in this, or someone's thinking about leaving Tottenham and going there. Forget about it. Tottenham doesn't deal with that club. It'd be nice to think that there's some doors that are opening, 100%. And maybe some bridges can be repaired. You know,
I'm not gonna move from my stance from March that that the club is prepping for sale or inward investment. I'm not moving from that. I've stayed completely in lane on that. And I'm not going to divert from it. And I think, right now, this is the story coming out that we're not selling. They don't need to sell. They need to sell a stake. They might not be selling now. Might be absolutely true they're not selling now. That's today's news. Tomorrow's news is Daniel's gone, right? Now all the people that have been cock-blocked, right, Sean, over the years, will be coming back. So the question is,
Qatar, right? But let's talk about Qatar.
Daniel Levy a cock block, Sean.
Nice.
Was Daniel Levy? I thought
we were done with this one for a while, but no.
No.
Just when you thought your squad was getting proper, that player won't leave. They call that cock blocker.
CEO won't sell. They call that cock blocker.
He was cock blocking. I think he was cock blocking and he was removed. Now the cock block has been removed. Let's see what happens. Interesting.
Just quickly though, obviously the same things go with that. I mean, imagine if Staveley comes back and she's bringing her consortium back, or if it was QIA or QSI from Qatar. Obviously they still involved with PSG. The relationship with PSG, is that a relationship that Daniel Levy has with Khalifi, or was that a relationship that Tottenham had with PSG?
Well,
who knows? Who knows? I'm sure there's a little bit of a sort of grey area there, but obviously, if it was to be something that looked a little bit like the QIA or the QSI, then do you think there's any risk? And again, we're just speculating, like kicking the can miles down the road here, but Could there be any situation whereby those guys do buy into Tottenham minority stakes, say less than 25%, because they can do that legally? But then is there a situation where Tottenham qualify for the Champions League and PSG do well? Does any of those problems like emerge, similar to what happened with Palace and Lyon?
I don't know, but I know who did the Emirates deal. Vinay. That was a huge deal. Naming rights, shirt, there's stadium deal.
Yeah, long deal as well. 20 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a huge deal for them, which has been redone. He did the Adidas deal. Again, huge deal. I expect Vinay to deliver these kind of deals. I wouldn't even be surprised if he tries to tear up the Nike deal that we're currently on, because Daniel panicked during the COVID crisis and signed a ridiculous deal over, was it 15 years? I think
long time. Yeah, it's a long deal. And it's a shit money.
Shit deal. We are dwarfed. We are absolutely dwarfed already. And we've still got years to go on that deal. I think
we do have a new shirt sponsor deal to be renegotiated soon, don't we? The AIA one. I know it's not the same money. The kit deal is the absolute Goliath of a deal, and we screwed up on that one. But the AIA one, I think, is up for renewal next season. So
maybe we should go DH Gate
or OK Jersey. Better yet.
Yeah. OK Jersey, whichever. But look, I think. Oh, there we go.
It's like the third emergency broadcast that they've done in the last hour. Very strange.
Very good. We've got some more super chats, Sean, before we just go into the
results
last week and Lionel Messi's farewell against Venezuela.
Yeah, Eamon O'Shea came in. Big up to you, Eamon O'Shea. He hasn't said anything, but appreciate the super. We'll call it a super sticker then. Choo to you. Thank you very much, Eamon. Appreciate you very much, mate. And Danny Kiriaki, big up to you, Kirikou. 100% board club are prepping for a sale in the near future. There's Danny. A full sale. And Hutu. Changes are never present, right? The only thing that's constant is change. So
the Hutus, I don't think they're in any position, the Hutus, to be doing any deals with us.
It's a fascinating story. Fascinating story, guys, that we'll obviously keep you abreast of anything that changes in that regard. Listen, we haven't gone through last week's, and there's some fascinating results in the Premier League last week. We've got to go through the results. So it's about time, ladies and gentlemen, to play predictions.
Who's gonna win this weekend? Gotta predict the scores. Gotta be Nostradamus, picking wins, losses, and draws. Who's gonna win this weekend? Gotta predict the scores. Gotta be Nostradamus, picking wins, losses, and draws.
All right, Johnny boy, let's get going. The first result of the weekend was between Chelsea and Fulham. And I'm just trying to find my score. Where are they? Here we go. Football results.
Yes, 2-0. Chelsea 2, Fulham 0. Josh King sees his controversy of his disallowed goal by VAR, another farce VAR decision. My man, João Pedro, who I think I had as the goal scorer for the week, scoring the goal, and Enzo Fernandez with a goal and an assist.
I said 2-0, so I get 3 points because I'm an absolute worldie at doing this. You said 3-0, and the chat said 3-0 as well. So you guys get 1 point. For that, I get 3 points for the correct prediction. You get 3 points on top for João Pedro. The next game, mate, was Wolves versus Everton. And that game finished.
Well,
Everton was, hang on a second, where is it with my list?
3-2.
3-2 to Everton.
Yeah, and another 2 assists to Jack Grealish, who is absolutely on fire. Listen, we highlighted on this show how much we thought Everton had a really, really good window. And they're only going to get better. I mean, this is them just kicking off. And a really good game, this 3-2 to Everton. And it was in Dye that we really wanted at Spurs. We looked at, didn't we? We thought that
yeah, I did a Y scout on him. We were linked with him for a while. But, sorry, we weren't linked with him. I did a video of like the top 6 wingers that we could look for, and I found him on the Y scout randomly, and then ran him through. And I was really impressed. And then obviously he was going to go somewhere else initially. I think he was going to stay in Holland or move to Italy. I think he was. I forget to be honest. But he ended up at Everton. Looks like a real game changer, mate. And Everton look really dangerous on their wings now, don't they? And their forward line looks like it's handy as well. That guy, Tierno Barry, looks like a bit of a nuisance. So
and Shrewsbury Hall finally released from his prison sentence at Chelsea. Has come home and scored a goal. I mean, Wolves. I think Wolves could be in a bit of trouble. That's 2 home games, and they conceded 7 goals in 2 games. Listen, Everton held on at the end. But they thoroughly deserved the 3-2 win. What was the score? I gave an Everton win, did I not? That one?
Yeah, you guys both predicted Everton wins. You both said 2-1. So you get a point each.
You had Wolves,
and I said 2-1 to Wolves. You guys said 2-1 to Everton. So I get 0 points. Next up was Spurs Bournemouth. Less said about that game, the better. We all went for home wins, and we were all wrong. 0 points across the board. I mean, just shocking, mate. Tottenham didn't get out of first gear. Bournemouth looked so comfortable. They're a very good team, and obviously their front line looks with Semenyo that's so powerful, and he just takes up so much of the threat that they can find the other guy on the other side. Danny, what's his name? Danny Adams. Who's the guy on the left? Oh, my mind's gone blank. But anyway, yeah, 1-0 to Bournemouth.
David Brooks was immense.
David
Brooks. Let me tell you, Semenyo's getting the headlines, but David Brooks was unbelievable in that game. He really, really was absolutely superb. And if he carries on like this, I'm telling you, right, he could have a standout season for them this season. Did we do Chelsea versus? We did Chelsea. Man United versus. Are we on that?
3-2 again. United get away with one against Burnley at home. They won. I think we all went for home wins though, so we all get a point. Look, I just think that, I mean, papering over the cracks, mate, isn't it, for Amorim to only be able to concede 2 goals away at home to Burnley? It just shows you how fragile they are at the back. Yes, they can score goals, and Mbeumo looks like he's really settled in nicely there. But yeah, I'm unimpressed with Man United, really am.
I mean, like that 97th minute goal. I mean, Man United are really having the lucky rub of the green. The goal that they scored against Fulham, the blatant 2-handed push on Shirley Bassey to rise up and head the ball in, and then the 97th minute. I don't know what he was thinking. It was a penalty, Sean, but they didn't deserve it. It was a penalty, as much as it looked like he pulled his jersey outside the box, but dived and tripped into the box. It took a long time but for me, I don't know. They're getting away with one at the moment, and they've got no games, Sean. I mean, they've got all the time in the world to prep for each game, tactically
they
work
it out. The same way every time, mate. It's just like predictability is easy to pick people off. It's easy to, if you're Burnley, you know what you're going to be up against. You know it's going to be a back 3. You know what they're going to do, and so if you can. You just spend as much time as you want practicing against the things that you know are going to happen. It's Man United have the same problem that any team that just has one way of playing their football. And that's the same thing that happened with Ange Postecoglou. It took 10 games before no one knew who we were. And then for the next 40 games or whatever, everyone knew who we were. And then we only managed to get success at the end because it wasn't who we were anymore. And I just think that's the problem that any of these, like the Premier League is too competitive. The amount of tape, the amount of skills and techers in the coaching department. If you're predictable, you are easy to play against. And I think that, Man United might have just about edged it, but it doesn't bode well for them. If I'm a United fan, I'm certainly worried.
Man United fans are in the chat. Tell us if he got out his battleship balled again. I mean, he couldn't even look. When the penalty was there, he had his feet up. I mean, this is a guy under pressure. Because I believe that had ended up 2-2. The clamour for him to... get the tin tack would have been very, very loud indeed. But let's see what happens. What's the next one?
We're moving into some of the interesting results here now. So Sunderland versus Brentford. A really nice game, actually. Good game to watch, Sunderland. I went for 2-0. You went for a 1-1 draw. and the chat went for 2-1, and it was in fact 2-1. So 3 points to the chat, and I get a point. You get nil point. Sunderland, mate. Sunderland doing bits. I've got no concern. Sunderland are going to be here next year. None whatsoever. They're going to be in the Premier League for a while.
Super sub Wilson Isidore rising up in the 96th minute to head them in front and send the Roker Park crazy. I mean, they were struggling. I mean, they didn't score their first goal until the 82nd minute with a penalty, and then came back with that Isidore goal in the 97th minute. It's not how you win; it's winning.
100%, mate.
It's all about the win.
And then after this, we start. There's a 3-game run here where we couldn't have predicted them more wrong if we tried. All of us. Leeds Newcastle. I went for a 3-2 belter. You went for to Leeds. You went 2-1 Newcastle, and the chat went 3-1 Newcastle. In the end, it was 0-0.
It was shocking.
I thought Leeds were the better of the two teams from what I saw. I only saw the highlights of it, but I felt like Newcastle. I mean, that Ramsey looks all right for Newcastle. He looks like he's settled in quite nicely there. But generally speaking, I thought it was a bit of an unforgettable game. But Leeds, another clean sheet at home, and their goalkeeper made a couple of good saves. Actually, sorry, did I say Leeds were the better of it? No, Newcastle were the better of it. Sorry, I'm thinking incorrectly. But Leeds were stoic in defence, mate, and they got another clean sheet at home. Very impressive.
I just think that, with obviously no Alexander Isak and Anthony Gordon rightly missing after that shocking challenge on Virgil van Dijk, they paid the price for that because they didn't have anyone up front. Be interesting to see now with these new signings not having time to bed in, Sean. They've gone straight out onto international duty, no time to acclimatise, so they might need a bit of time. But that wasn't the greatest game you'll ever see, that's for sure. In fact, it was quite shocking.
Brighton City, mate, unbelievable game of two halves. We all went for away wins. We were all wildly wrong. City dominated the first half and Brighton were all over the place. But the second half, Brighton were frightening. They were Minter, unbelievable. I think Matoma was fantastic. They were a breath of fresh air in the second half. And I'll be entirely honest, I thought City were lucky, were hanging on there like at one point. And obviously they in the end they conceded the goal. But Brighton fully worth the points in my mind. That second half was great from them.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say, the man, the legend, James Milner, coming on for Belieber a 60th minute and converting the penalty. That guy just goes on and on and on. If you ever want an example as to the antipathy of someone like Jadon Sancho, who's too busy living the life, not living the full life, this is what you can do if you just dedicate yourself to football, living it, breathing it, and having an incredible career like James Milner, like Ashley Young, fantastic football professionals. And they came back and they were fully deserving of the win in the end. And
tell you what, James Trafford, I think he must have made 3 or 4 top draw saves despite losing the game. I thought James Trafford was sensational, keeping City respectable because he was brilliant. Made some very, very good saves in that game, and I was very, very impressed, especially after the clanger that he had against us a couple of weeks ago.
So the next one is Nottingham Forest. Well, this was the shock of the day, probably.
Absolutely. Well, there's two shocks. There's 2 shocks probably. This one was one of them for sure.
Yeah, Forest.
We all went for home wins and comfortable home wins. I went 3-0. You went 3-0, and the chat went 2-0, and it was the inverse. 0-3 to West Ham. Unbelievable stuff.
Just shows you how a Premier League, anything can happen. I mean, they absolutely destroyed them. But the funny thing is, it all happened they just fell apart in the last 6 minutes. They scored, Jared Bowen scored on 84, Paqueta with a penalty on 88, and Callum Wilson on the 91st minute.
Yeah.
Do you think that could actually sign the death knell of Nuno?
Maybe. Yeah, I definitely thought whoever lost that game was probably going to be. I mean, I thought if Potter lost heavily, then I thought it would have been enough of him. But maybe that's just giving him a bit of a reprieve, because that's a really difficult place to go and get a result, mate. And to go and score 3 in the I think it was 7 minutes, wasn't it? 3 and 7 minutes.
Yeah,
Just,
3 and 7 minutes, and lifts West Ham to the giddy heights of 16th in the league. You know, they looked like they were -7 in goal difference just last week, and so there's a big turnaround, big turnaround. Then the game, probably the game of the week, Liverpool versus Arsenal. Arsenal, boring Arsenal, going to try and snatch a 0-0 draw, and complaining about the ball when Szoboszlai free kick was just sublime. But I think the best quote of the day, actually, when you think about it, was from not the pathetic one from David Raya as to why he didn't save it, but for Michael Owen with his comment
about the wall.
Yeah,
you know, he's right, by the way. He's absolutely right.
He would have had all day long to catch that. 32 yards out, he would have been able to walk across and catch it.
He literally, but what he said beyond that was right. He goes, if you're outside 30 yards and you as the defending team take away your wall, the opposition will put a wall there, because the wall is an advantage when you're that far out. It hides the move, and rather than helping the defense. Because if you're outside 25 yards, fine, of course you need a wall, but not outside 30, unless you've got someone like a Roberto Carlos level of, you know, superb power shot, and even then you're going to miss 9 out of 10 of them, because if you're hitting with that much leg speed, you're going to give up a little bit of accuracy. But the way that he took that shot, and the way that Raya was already dancing across the goal line, it all played into Liverpool's hands. And fair play to Szoboszlai for doing his homework and knowing that that's what Raya does. But it still took an absolutely excellent finish. But Liverpool fans crying about the fact, Arsenal fans crying about the fact that we only lost from a set piece, when you only ever win by set pieces anywhere. You don't mind it when it goes the other way. I mean, a little bit shameless. But yeah. We all thought there was going to be goals, mate. I said 2-1, you said 3-2, and the chat said 2-2. So you and I get a point for the result, but nothing for the chat. And the last game, mate, is another shock, really.
Wow. What a game this was.
Villa gets smashed 3-0 away. Villa gets smashed at home by Palace. I said 2-0. You said 2-2. And the chat said 3-2. You were picking a draw. We were picking home wins. So 0 point for all of us on that as well.
What a game.
Did you watch that game, mate? Great game, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I absolutely love Oliver Glasner. I mean, I wouldn't have been upset. I mean, obviously I wanted Thomas Frank, but Oliver Glasner was my backup. What a manager he is. Obviously, Mark Gahey with a beautiful goal coming in from that left-hand side, put the ball in top right corner. He thought that was his farewell. I'm not sure how that's going to pan out now. How comfortable he's going to be playing for the club after his dream move has been taken away. Where does that leave Dick Emery at Aston Villa? Lots of questions there. But, Crystal Palace, they've played Villa away. They've played Chelsea, and they've got 4 points out of those 2 games. So I think Oliver Glasner will be very happy so far with his. By
the way, did you see Mark Gahey's finish?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, you said it. Sorry, I was tallying up the scores. That finish was absolutely sublime, wasn't it? Absolutely sublime.
I just wonder where we're going here with Mark Gahey. We saw that Oliver Glasner threatened to resign if they sold him.
Yeah.
So is Gahey going to blame him for his move collapsing? Is he going to blame Parish? It's going to be an interesting one. No doubt the journalists are going to start shoving the microphone in Mark Gahey's face.
Yeah, trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah. But I think the beneficiaries of this decision will be Arsenal, unfortunately, because, if they can last...
Or Chelsea.
But they got to last now, Liverpool, with only sort of 3 top centre-backs till January. And by the time January comes about, that will come into the realms of Real Madrid and Barcelona, who will be able to sign Mark Gahey on a free and give him something extra on a pre-contract, that is in January. Something extra to think about. But
yeah,
top player he's going to be. And I feel for him, really, because that is your dream move, and it's been snatched away.
You're punished for your loyalty. You're punished for doing things the right way, and other people get rewarded for being bozos. Jonny, talk about top player, mate. Guess who's top player of the predictions game right now, mate? Combined scores over 3 weeks. The chat has 21 points. The leader has 25 points. And second place has 24 points. Jonny, you are current leader. 25 points. For now.
Oh, here come the balloons.
Here comes Basuma.
Basuma's on the floor at the moment. He's conked out.
He's having a good time.
Comatose. I saw in the chat that people were saying, did everybody see the welcome that Jamie Vardy got from the Cremonese fans? Quite unbelievable.
Was it?
38 years of age and going there and having that sort of welcome. And the welcome that Anthony got from the Real Betis fans, another fantastic one. But the best of all was reserved for last night when Lionel Messi played what is rumoured to be his final game in Argentina in their 3-0 win against Venezuela. The whole stadium was up in arms. The lights were on. The phones were out. I'd love to have been there. That's my dream. It's on my bucket list, Sean, to go to River Plate or Boca Juniors.
Be amazing.
To see a game. It's my dream. I just wonder. I mean, do you think he'll make the World Cup? He'll be a major player in the World Cup this season, or do you think he's?
You're still taking though, wouldn't you? You'd have him.
Yeah, I think you still take him. I think he scored a couple of goals last night. Yeah, Cremonese was welcome like a movie star. Yeah.
No, very nice too. Jonny, I've got to round it off, mate. I need to jump, but congratulations on taking a momentary lead. Thanks everyone for stopping by. I think we've done the super. I know there's one more super sticker as well. Big up to you, Bears K. Thank you very much, mate, for the super sticker. Choo to you guys. Just last reminder, Aussie Frank Lover, I think that was. Mate, I will. I'll reach out to Edward at OK Jersey and find out if they do ship to Australia. I'll let you know on tomorrow's stream. Actually, no, I'm not around tomorrow, Jonny. I'm at Henry.
Yeah, he's
Henry
at the
Wright's
wedding. The wedding to get messy, guys. If you're in the chat, just to say that unbelievably, despite us mentioning it all the time, we've only had seven likes or comments on our Apple audio. Now, I know loads of you are out walking the dog, walking the wife, walking the kids, listening. Just hit the like button, guys, or the follow button. It's very easy. Just give us a 5-star review. We're trying to grow that. And if you're here now and you haven't hit the subscribe button, please hit that and help us grow the channel. We're on our way now to 6,000. Couldn't have done it without you. And hit that like button on the way out. Sean, hope you have a great weekend and a great wedding.
Cheers, buddy.
Everyone that's in the chat, have a great weekend. If you support England, Wales, Scotland, wherever you're from, whatever country you're from, Peru, Dean Hoyson, if Peru have got a World Cup game this weekend, good luck to you and good luck to everyone in the internationals. And Sean and I will be back on Monday, giving it large, hopefully, with lots of.
You're flying home on Sunday, are you?
No, I'm flying home Wednesday. Hotspur Hippie was talking shit about us yesterday. Who cares? He's no disrespect, Mash, but that ship's failed. Yeah, this monopoly, this monopoly, Sean and I's monopoly of 2, passed him in 3 months what it's taken him years to build. So Sean and I don't give him much to be truthful with you. The
amount of people that talk shit about me, it doesn't bother me. Water for ducks back. Jonny is a legend, and that's all. And all he needs to know is that I think he's a legend. Forget about that bloke who needs a shave and whatever else is going on with him. Anyway, like, subscribe, and comment. Jonny, it's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from him.
Bye.
See ya.